Hi, everybody. This is Meagan Pinkney with the Joseph's Ministry Podcast, and we're here again as we meet every first Thursday of every month to give you wisdom on your entrepreneur and authorship journey. I'm excited to be with you again. We have been in an exciting series entitled How to Become a 3D Author, and I've just been sharing some wisdom that I've gained over the years, some lessons learned so that you can learn from my mistakes and incorporate them into your own journey. But if you can remember some of the D's we talked about, the first D was what? Being highly dedicated. Yes, being highly dedicated to your own process. Everybody's journey looks different. So if you want more information about that D, go back and watch that episode. Amazing content. The second D, highly disciplined. Yes, this is the cuss word of all of the D's. No one wants to be disciplined, but it is important to your success as an author, okay? Highly disciplined. So today we're going to review the final and the third D of becoming a 3D author. And this one is, to me, a little bit more personal, okay? You have to highly desire. That's it. Highly desire, okay? If you Google the definition of desire, it simply means a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. I'll read that again. Desire means a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. When I say highly desire, you have to desire strongly for people to hear your message. Nobody is wanting to get your message out to the world more than you do. So you have to have that internal motivation to want to get your message out. A lot of times, including myself, we write about our own personal stories, some aspect about our life that we want to share to other people. So you have to know that it's something unique about your life that someone else will benefit from. You have to desire for that message to get out into the world. Now, when I first started writing books, I didn't know. I just knew I had a word from the Lord to say, write a book. So I was being obedient. I didn't want to write a book because I didn't know how to write a book. But I knew I was supposed to write a book because as I would encounter people day-to-day life, at work, at church, or in Walmart or wherever, people would come up and have random conversations. I thought weren't random, but it would have something to do with some type of aspect of my own journey. And I could relate, so I can minister to that, right? So I would say, oh, this is what I've done, and, you should try it too, and, X, Y, and Z. And I begin to know that it is rude to keep people for 2 to 3 hours to tell them your testimony. People would begin to stop me and say, hey, sweetie, man, this is so encouraging. Thank you so much. You should write a book. I got to go. Y'all, I'm very serious. People that I did not know, so they weren't trying to flatter me. They were like, hey, I really have to go. I love this. I need this, but I really have to go, but you should write it in a book. And it wasn't until maybe like the 5th time that this happened that I really began to get a desire, like, okay, why do people keep telling me the same thing? Maybe there is something there. Maybe there is something unique about my journey that it will help people. Not just, me, my four, and no more, but people that I didn't know. People that I didn't know struggle with some of the things that I struggle with. You just never know. So I began to develop this desire to get my message out. So all of my books up until this point have been about some aspect of my life, some aspect about my journey, so that it can help people. So people don't have to just buy one book to kind of get to the meat of where it applies to them, but I just broke them up into different topics. So singleness and just waiting on God, and weight loss and health, fitness and faith, purpose, things like that. So people can target whatever topic that they're needing from my own personal life. But I began to desire that my message will get out. Now, I do understand that it is intimate topics, especially if you're writing about your story. It's very vulnerable. So you do want to make sure that you're writing. I always tell people, writing from a place of healed. You never want to bleed on your words, especially when we're talking about your own personal story. You've overcame some type of trauma or whatever the case may be. Thank God you have overcame it, but make sure that you're really healed, because you don't want to bleed on your words. You don't want to, be in a situation where you're talking about overcoming life on the other end of divorce or something. I'm just random topic. And in your book, you're just bashing your ex, and you're not healed yet. Let's get healed and just kind of regroup and then come back to it, right? So you want to make sure that you're writing from a place of healed, whole, and now it's time to share, okay? Because it's important. People can tell, okay? So we want to make sure that you have that desire. So no one can give you that desire. No one can give you motivation. You kind of already have to have that on the inside of you, okay? So it's like, think about these things as you're writing your book, as you're writing your journey. Even if it's a children's book, it still could be about your life, right? It still could impact people, especially those of that young age. You have a desire to share this message. Whatever the case may be, make sure that you have that own personal desire, because it will, let me tell you, it will impact people. One thing that you do want to consider as we're talking about highly desire, you don't want to rush the process. Like I said, be healed. Make sure you're whole. Make sure you've gone through your own personal process in your own life before you just want to share with the masses. Make sure that you're good with it first. There's some aspects in my first book I intentionally left out until the Holy Spirit said, hey, I need you to put this in. And I'm like, well, why? I just didn't feel comfortable, right? Because you're writing to the world. Whoever gets your story will be able to read it. Okay, so I had to get over some things within myself before I was able to actually get it published. Okay, so it's important to go through your own process, but you do have to highly desire for your book to get released and your story to be told, whatever that story is. I always tell people and ask people this: always know what your motivation is for wanting to tell your story. If it's to see your name on a book that is printed, that's not the right motivation to me, okay? My motivation personally is to help the person that's going to read it. I didn't put in all the time. I didn't become highly dedicated and disciplined just so I can see my name on a book, right? I want to be able to help the person that's going to read it. Even when I'm good and gone, my words will be able to still affect people in the earth, because I was intentional, and my heart and my motivation was to help the other person that's reading it. So it's important to highly desire, yes. Know your motivation, super important. Be healed and whole yourself before you release your testimony, whatever aspect. Make sure that you're good first, because people will know when they read, and then they're feeling, wiping themselves off because they got blood on them, because you're bleeding on your words. And that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that your testimony is real, that it's raw, that it's authentic to your journey. Again, so that people can overcome in their own life. I don't take being an author lightly. I don't take, writing my testimony lightly. I don't, me personally, I do not. And I tell people, and I caution people all the time about this, because it is serious. Because you're reading, you're putting out, and people are reading your story. And if any aspect of that is false or fake or made up, unless it's a fictional book, but I'm talking about your testimony, you want to make sure that it's something that's true to you. Okay? Like you really did go through this. And this is a living, breathing testimony that you have from your own personal life. Okay? So, because I do believe, according to Revelation 12:11, that people overcome by one, the blood of the Lamb. Jesus took care of that. But by every word of our testimony. So we want to make sure that our testimony is accurate, and it is accurate, and it is accurate, and it is raw, and it is real. It's not the edited version of your testimony. If you're going to share it, you might as well just go ahead and share it, right? And your motivation behind it is accurate, okay? So that's the recap of highly desire. It's not manufactured. I can't make you desire something. No one can make you desire to write a book. Either you have it on the inside of you, or you don't. So that's pretty much a part of my process as far as how to become a 3D author. There's so much to share about just authorship journey that I can share, and I will, in different points of views throughout this podcast. But I did want to set some time and some episodes aside to really talk about what it looks like to be an author. We can say that, and you can make a t-shirt and and start selling them, saying I'm an author, and that's cute. But there's so much, it is a level of responsibility as well, because you're putting content out into the world, right? And you want to make sure that, it is going to help people. That's the biggest thing for me, is it going to benefit somebody? I don't personally like a lot of fluff. I don't personally like, things that, again, be true to your story, and people will tell, and people will give you the testimonies. I literally can tell you how many times people have messaged me, email, which I welcome this. People have messaged me on Facebook or sent me emails saying, hey, I got a hold of one of your books. It totally blessed me. I true story, this girl, I don't remember meeting her. I'm really good with faces and stuff. I don't remember meeting her, but she mentioned that her pastor got a hold of my book. Not sure who that is. And anyway, she read my story, and I think my first book, and it touched her so much. She brought it to her church leadership to put my book in their church bookstore to sell. So she bought copies of my books to sell it in the church bookstore. I didn't do that. I don't know these people. It was God. My heart is to help people, and He's going to make a way that people who need it will get it in their hands. And it's such a beautiful, and I can tell you story after story after story about things that happen like that. And it's not to be a celebrity, but it's to help people. And the fact that she came back and told me blessed me. And it let me know, Meagan, you made the right decision to write that story, to be authentic, to be true, so that people can be helped and they can see Jesus. That is the whole point for me. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this series on how to become a 3D author. I will continue, of course, share more information about becoming an author and the authorship journey, but I did want to share this aspect and what it looks like from a different point of view that maybe you didn't think about before. But it's such a fun journey, and you just never know the doors that can open for you just because you said yes to writing a book. So guys, if this has blessed you and you have gained so much wisdom from this series, how to become a 3D author, this episode, let me know. I would love to know. Me and my team, we would love to hear your testimonies and what you thought about it, different topics that you want us to discuss. Please let us know. If you are on your writing journey and you want more information about publishing and our book coaching packages, please reach out to us. You can always visit our website at www.josephministryllc.com. So until next month, first Thursday, we will see you then. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.